Welcome back all my aspiring pattern makers and my future fashion designers. In this video, I'm going to show you two methods of making a triangle bag using only 6 squares. To get started, you will need 6 squares of the same fabric, or you can be different like me and choose a print and a solid color or 2 different solid colors to make your triangle bag. I'm going to show you the first method of using the squares to make this triangle bag with a print that is going to be contrasting on the left side and the right side of the bag, and the base of the bag is going to be out of a solid color. And the other method is that you will have one color on either the left side or the right side of the bag, and then the base and the other side is going to be the same color. To get started with the first method, you will need 4 pieces of squares of the print and 2 pieces of squares for the solid color for the bag. Once you have the 6 squares, you are going to separate them in 2 sets, meaning that each set is going to have 2 print fabric and the other one is going to be the solid fabric. So what you're going to do, you are going to lay one set with the right side facing up and the other set with the wrong side facing up. And the next step is that you are going to take one print and going to place it over the print on the other side. So now you have each print, you are going to have the right sides facing together, and you're going to pin those, and you're going to do it for those 2 prints. Then the next square, which is the solid color, you're going to place the right sides together and you are going to pin also. What you're going to do next is that you're going to take this to the sewing machine and you are going to sew around the edges of the square, but leave extra space about 2 to 3 inches on one side so that you will be able to turn the square inside out. So now you will have 3 squares. 2 will be of the print and 1 will be a solid color. Once you iron the seams, you are also going to take it back to the sewing machine and top stitch the edge of the opening to close it. Once you have done so, you are going to lay out the 3 squares so that you can create a pattern in order for you to fold them and create the bag. I would suggest that you have a print first, and then below that square you will have the solid color, and going to the right of that solid square color, you will then lay the other print. So once you have it like that in that shape, it is good. You can work with it from here, or you can choose to swing it around so that the solid square is going to be in a shape of a diamond facing towards you one of the end. So that will make it easier when you are forming your bag. So once you turn it to this position, then you will take the first print that is on your left hand and you are going to fold it diagonally in 2 so that it's going to touch the other corner. Then you are going to fold up the solid square from the bottom up diagonally so that you have the bottom as the base, and then you are going to go to the second print, which is now going to be on your right side, and you are also going to fold that diagonally so that it comes in, and you will then see the shape of the bag. So what you will do with this, you are going to pin this. So once you have this, you're going to pin it one at a time though. So what you'll do for this, you will simply need an overlap of about 3/16 of an inch, and 3/16 of an inch is a little bit more than 1/8 and less than 1/4. It's in between. So you just need that little bit so you can top stitch the top part of the fabric onto the bottom fabric, and you will do that along one of the sides of the square from the solid to the print, and then you will do the same thing for the other print onto the other side of the square of the solid color. And once you have that, then you will turn the solid color up, flip it over, and you can top stitch on the other side also. So now that you have that form, that is your bag, and this is what it's going to look like. You can then get a strip of fabric of the solid color, or you can use a print. It is up to you. And I chose to use the solid color because if the bottom of the bag or the base of the bag is going to be the solid color, it would behoove you to be funky and just make this strap of the bag or the handle for the bag of the same color also. You can cut the handle using the measurement of 5 inches by 10 inches. And with that, you will fold the fabric in two. So now your measurement is going to be 2.5 inches by 10 inches. And you will sew along the 2.5 inch width to secure that or to close it on both sides and leave the length of that rectangle open. Then you will turn it inside out and you will take it to the iron board and you will iron that flat. Then you are going to go back to the sewing machine. Then you will fold this 9.5 inches by 2.5 inches because you had a 1/4 inch seam allowance on either side. So that is going to compensate for the 1/2 inch right there. So it's no longer 10 inches, it's 9.5 inches by 2.5 inches. So you will fold this along the 9.5 inch. So now the width is going to be 1.25 inches. And you will pin that side. One side is going to be on the fold and one side is going to have the raw edges. And you will sew that to close it. Then you will turn that handle inside out using a looper, or you can use a pin and just loop it through to turn it inside out. Once you have that turned inside out, you are going to push one end of the tip of the bag up there through the handle so that you can grab it from the other end. You can use a looper to do so, or you can use a safety pin. And then once you see it on the other end of the handle, you can grab the other tip of the triangle bag and you're going to lay it over the piece that came through the handle and you're going to sew that part. If you want your handle to be longer, you can choose to lengthen the piece that is going to be inside the handle, meaning that instead of just attaching one tip of the triangle bag to the other tip of the triangle bag, you can add extra fabric in between those two to give it much more length. You can add, say, 2 to 3 inches is fine, or if you want to go longer and do, say, 4 inches, it's all up to you. This is what your bag will look like. And as you see, you have the print on one side, on the left side, and also the print on the right side, and it is in the shape of a triangle, and the bottom of the bag is in the shape of a triangle, but it is a solid color. And voila, that is one method of creating your triangle bag using 6 squares. Now let's get into the second method of creating the triangle bag using also 6 squares. But in this method, I chose to use solid colors as opposed to prints. You can use prints if you want. So what I did, I got the 2 solid colors. I need to have 4 squares from one color and 2 squares of the other color. Once you have that, you are going to choose to separate them in 2 sets also. Now you have your 2 sets where one set is going to be 2 of the same color and 1 of a different color. You will simply have it where the wrong side is facing up, where you have the one solid color first, and below that square you're going to put one of the other 2 squares that you have that is of the different color, and next to that you are going to place the other square of the same color. So this is what it's going to look like. You are now going to grab the seams together. Remember now the wrong side is facing up, so if you are grabbing the seams together, the right sides will be together. You will then take it to the sewing machine and you will sew 2 seams at a time. Once you have done that, then you will iron it out. Then you will sew the other two seams. You can go ahead and turn it diagonally where you will have one of the square is going to point towards you in a diamond shape, and we know that a square can look like a diamond when you turn it the other way diagonally. Then it's easier now for you to pin one side to the next side. So what you'll do, you will then focus on the square that is on the left hand side, which is the other color, and you will fold it in half diagonally. Once you do that, then you will take up the next square that is below that, which is the one that is looking like a diamond shape facing you with a tip, and you will fold that part up so that now you will have the seam of two of the squares there on the left hand side, and you can pin that. Then you will fold the other square, which is the same color as the last one you just folded, in diagonally also, and where the seams meet you will pin them. Once you do that, you can take this to the sewing machine and you can sew these two seams. Once you have sewn these two seams, then you can take it to the iron board and iron those seams, and then you will flip the bag over. You will do the same thing, fold up and pin again, and then sew it and iron the bag. With this method, you are going to do the same thing for the other set of 3 squares. Remember, 2 are of the same color and 1 of a different color. And once you sew those seams together, then you will see your triangle bag being formed. With this method, it is totally different from the other method where you were doing the top stitching. You will not be doing a top stitching here. What you will have now is 2 sets of bags being formed. One is going to be acting as the lining, and the other is going to be acting as the outer part. So once you have the 2 sets there that looks like the triangle bag being formed, you're going to place the right sides together, meaning that with the bag being formed and you're looking at it where you are looking at the wrong side with the seams being shown, you are going to take one bag and you are going to turn it over to the other side where now you are going to see the right side, and you're going to place it inside of the other one, meaning that now right sides are together. And once they're together, you are going to pin along the edges. So you will sew those together and leave about 3 to 3.5 inches of space for you to turn the bag inside out. But when you are doing that, remember at the V shape there, you are going to slash either side of the seams so that you have ease there and not have a tension where it's going to be tight and it's not going to lay flat to form that V. Because remember, you're dealing with triangles and endpoints, and you are going to have a V right there. For this bag, what I did, I chose to make the handle the same color as the one triangle and not of the 2 triangles. You can cut a rectangle in a dimension of 10 inches by 5 inches, or it could be more. And then what you'll do with that rectangle, you will follow through the same way that you created the handle for the other one, and you sew the sides. That is now, once you fold it, it's going to be 2.5 inches. And once you fold that and you iron it out, then you will end up now with 9.5 by 2.5 inches. So you're coming from 10 inches by 5 inches folded and sewn to 9.5 inches by 2.5 inches. And then you will fold it again and take it to the sewing machine, and you will sew along the 9.5 inches to create that loop for your handle. Push one of the end piece of the bag of the triangle through the handle for the bag. When you see it on the other side, then you grab the other pointed end of the triangle, the vertex, and you will sew it there. As I said before, if you want longer length on your handle, you can place a piece of fabric to attach that to make it longer. You can do 3 inches or 3.5 inches longer. It is up to you. So these are the two methods that you can make a triangle bag using 6 squares. There are other methods of making a triangle bag using 2 squares, and you can go back and watch my video on this, and that will show you other ways of creating a triangle bag. The next thing that you'll do to this bag is that you can either miter the corners or you can leave it as it, and it is all up to you. I like to miter my corners at times because then I have an actual base that is sitting on when it is mitered. So to miter the corner, what you do, you simply open the bag like this, and you will form right here. And because you have this, you will go across, I would say 2 inches from either corners and also on the other side also. And make sure that you are doing it from the inside of the bag so that you will see the mitered end. So you will actually turn it out like this, right? And line up the seams. And then you would sew across here on this end and also on the other end. And that will give you the mitered look. So this is what the bag looks like when the corners are mitered and you have a base now for the bag. And all you have to do is simply just add your articles that you want to walk around with in your bag. And there you go with your bag. Voila. And the handle is also scrunched up. But if you don't want the handles to be scrunched up, you can choose a desired length or lengthen it some more so to avoid that scrunch. And that's your triangle bag. There you go. So in conclusion, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the like button if you like what you see. And share this with others around the world. Don't keep this knowledge to yourself, so they too can make a triangle bag like this in 2 different ways. They can choose which way they want to make it. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.